My name is. What? My name is. Who? My name is.
What's going on? What's going on, Patriots? You're just locked in the hood politics where we always keep it 100. I'm your host, J Man. Y'all already know on this channel. We got straight through that BS and get straight to the issues and the policies that hit us close to home. We talk about everything from elections to national debates, all the way up to political podcasts. We throw some pop culture and comedy in there every once in a while because y'all know my motto: all politics all the time. I give you brain rot. That's why I do it so you don't have to. We start each and every one of them off sending out our thoughts and prayers. And I want to keep in our thoughts and prayers the Nolan Wells family. You know what I'm saying? I got a video I'm finna do on him next after this one, but I had to throw out that tribute to the boss man, Big Shaq Diesel. And now I got to get on this chick right here, man. This chick here is a very sick individual. You know what I'm saying? This chick is a very, very sick individual, y'all. You know what I mean? You gotta we got this situation out here in Ocean County, New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? And it hit way different, man. And I'm talking about this 25-year-old Victoria Kramer. You know what I'm saying? Someone who was entrusted with the care of children who is now sitting in jail facing four serious counts that paint a picture of straight evil and depravity. You feel me? Now, this case isn't a case that started in the courtroom. It started in a home where a parent who sensed something was wrong with their child and took the initiative to uncover the truth. You feel me? Something a lot of people don't do these days. You know what I'm saying? Now, check it out. The investigation kicked off because a parent identified as Miss H noticed some changes in her son's behavior after Kramer had been babysitting. You know what I'm saying? But the smoking gun came from a different source. A mother, Mrs. P, you know what I'm saying, who had been letting Kramer stay in her home. You feel me? When Miss P realized that things wasn't gonna work out, she told Shorty, look, pack your crap, you gotta get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? And she insisted that she left the phone that she gifted her behind. Now that phone, people, that phone became the key. You see what I'm saying? When Miss P searched it, she found a 14-second video saved in the Snapchat memories. You see what I'm saying? A file that allegedly showed Kramer sexually abusing a child while laughing. You feel me? You feel me? Sickening. You know what I'm saying? Look at the charges that the state is throwing at her. They ain't playing around with her. They're not playing no games. Shout out to them out there in New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? You got the sexual assault of a victim over 4, which is the core of the violation. You know what I'm saying? Then you have second degree manufacturing of child sexual abuse material. You see, that charge is heavy all by itself because it speaks to the intent. You feel me? It says she wasn't a bystander. She wasn't just the one hit and record, that she was the one creating the content, the one who turned the child into a victim for her own sick files. You feel me? You know what I mean? And on top of those charges, bro, she have a third degree endangering the welfare of a child and a third degree possession of sexual abusive material. You see what I'm saying? See, when the police did they forensic dump of the phone and her account, they just didn't find that one clip, bro. They found additional videos. You feel me? They found additional videos that means this wasn't just a one-time thing, y'all. This is a pattern of behavior that they are currently documenting for their own little sickness. Like, this is crazy. And look at this. Why is all ladies? Why are so many beautiful women such crazy ass bitches? excuse my language, but come on, man. This chick is gorgeous and crazy and loony as a Bessie bug, man. This is crazy, man. But anyway, man, yo, the prosecution is building a case that is designed to stick on this chick, and I hope it do. You know what I'm saying? They making sure that even if the defense tries to argue around the edges, the weight of the evidence or the manufacturing and the possession, uh, it ain't gonna hurt. They still gonna keep her locked down. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying. The legal experts they already point out the hurdles. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the defense is going to try to turn this into a conversation about mental health, and we know how that go. I'm so tired of hearing all these people committing these heinous crimes. Oh, they mentally ill because these crazy mofos they want to take care of their own, man. And I'm sick and I'm tired of it, yo. I don't want to hear no more. Oh, they was mentally ill. All right, well, you keep man, this is so frustrating, yo. This is so frustrating because I know this is evil. I know what the left is doing is evil, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's no way everybody you try to hurt, I mean, you try to help, you end up hurting. There's no way. There's no way that everybody you try to help, you end up hurting in the worst ways possible. You see what I'm saying? What are you talking about, Jay? I'm talking about this like this mental ill BS. Oh, that person mentally ill. He shouldn't have got unalived by that cop. Well, he shouldn't have had a knife in his hand, charging at a cop. Huh? You feel me? He should have had his crazy ass locked up somewhere. But no, they don't. That's cruelty. These old white liberal women, man, you bitches are a disease. Excuse my language. But this got me upset, bro. This is crazy, man. Y'all already know, man. They gonna be trying to talk about that the videos ain't what they seen. You know what I'm saying? Or try to challenge the authenticity of the digital files or some crap like that. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't gonna be able to talk your way out of this kind of footage, especially when the account is linked to you and you are controlling that account, man. You know what I'm saying? So right now, we gonna wait. We waiting on the next court dates. But the state has her held without bond, which tells you everything you need to know on how dangerous that they think this chick is. You feel me? So I'm making this video as a reminder that you have to really pay attention to who you letting in your home and who are you trusting your kids with and what's going on in their little digital shadows of their devices, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is a tragedy. It's sickening and it's a case that's going to have massive, massive impact on everyone involved, man. You feel me? So we're going to keep watching every development, every new charge, and every move they make because when it comes to the safety of our own, we don't play, man. You know what I'm saying? So we finna jump right on into this, bro. Let's get into this. There's going to be quite a long video. So for all those who don't like the long-term videos, I mean, you're gonna have to bounce and go check out TikTok or something. But this is serious, so I want everybody to check it out from beginning to end.
And this is really sad. She said that she could tell something was off with her toddler after he spent time with Victoria Cranmer. She said that her son stopped liking the bathtub. And prosecutors allege that Cranmer allegedly bathes with this boy, according to those court records obtained by Patch. Now, the 14-second video was allegedly taken on May 6th. Then you have this investigation starting on May 20th. Once this video is discovered, then you have the arrest of Victoria Cranmer. That didn't happen until July 8th. Police say they discovered.
Like this chick even is hot in her freaking arrest mugshot. Who looks good in a mugshot? This is crazy. Like, I really need to know this. She got to be. Oh, she got to have something. It got to be something broke up in here. Something has to be broke up in here, ladies and gentlemen, for real. Because I can't see nobody this beautiful being this evil, man. But it is what it is. Evil come in all shapes, sizes, and apparently beauty.
Discovered additional videos on her phone, but it is unclear at this point what those videos show. But it's been alleged that it is her and that 2-year-old male victim in this story. Guys, real quick, running a business is tough enough, but why make it harder doing things manually or relying on dozens of apps that don't talk to each other? That is where our sponsor, Odoo, comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management platform with a full suite. Charges second-degree assault on a child, endangering the welfare of a child, manufacturing child sexual abuse material, and possession of child sexual abuse material. Cranmer made this court appearance for a detention hearing in Ocean County Court. Since her arrest, she has been held without bail. In court, as we saw her for the first time, she looked emotional. As the allegations were read aloud, she appeared virtually from jail. The Asbury Park Press laid out what Cranmer's defense attorney said, and these were comments she made in hopes of getting her client out of jail. So here is what that defense attorney said per the Asbury Park Press, trying to, it seems, downplay what she's accused of. Quote, anyone who has spent time caring for young children understands that children often have little appreciation for personal space or privacy. Young children routinely follow parents or caregivers in the bathrooms, touch things, ask questions, are curious, and fail to recognize ordinary social boundaries. Again, this is what public defender Marissa Kohner told the court. She also
You know what? I can't even go in on this attorney. You know what I'm saying? Because she's only doing her job. And her job is to put up the best defense for her clients. So I'm on not even comment on that because because everybody deserves the right to a defense, man. Unfortunately, people. That's us. That's our country. Everybody deserves a fair trial. But I know I'm thinking y'all thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Some people don't need no trial, man. They don't deserve it. Some people just need to go straight to get like Monopoly. Go straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, man. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, that's not our country. That's not how our forefathers designed our Constitution. So
reportedly said this about her client allegedly recording that incident. Quote, children often engage in funny, spontaneous, or strange behavior that adults record because the moment is memorable and humorous. End quote. The video has been blown out of proportion, coroner said. Now, in response to that, this is what the judge said. Quote, the word to describe it is.
and you know what? We haven't seen the video and we haven't saw what's on the video. And for these children's sake, I hope this video is being blown out of proportion. But for some reason, with all these charges, I don't think so, bro. I really don't think so. I'm praying that it's blown out of proportion and she did not harm these children. You know what I'm saying? But by all these charges and what I've been digging into, it just don't seem likely, man. It really don't.
Bizarre that the child follow Cranmer into the bathroom was not the strange part, according to the judge. What was bizarre is that Cranmer did nothing to stop the toddler from touching her private area, and she laughed, giggled, and recorded video of it while it was taking place. I find it to be troubling there wasn't any attempt to stop the child from touching her in the private area. Now, Cranmer, according to the newspaper, was sobbing when the judge made the decision that she will remain in jail going forward as her case is pending. Cranmer, according to online court records, is next slated to make an appearance in court on August 3rd. If found guilty, Cranmer is facing a very steep prison sentence. On one hand, she would have to register as a sex offender for life, according to New Jersey law, but she's also facing the possibility of that sex assault charge and the manufacturing CSAM. Those are both charges that carry 5 to 10-year prison terms. Her other charges would also carry up to 5-year prison terms per the Asbury Park Press. Joining us now to talk more about this.
How is it? And see, this is one thing I don't like about our justice system, man. How is it that these pedos can get probation and can get less crime than some dude out here selling dope on the corner trying to make a little money? How is it that you can harm one of our children and get less time than somebody that's just out there hustling trying to make some money? Y'all gonna have to make this make sense to me, cause see, I believe these type of people, pedos, I believe they should get the chair. I think they should get lethal injection. I'm being 100% honest. I think they should get it all, get everything they got coming to them. Don't touch our babies.
This is criminal defense attorney Eric Faddis, also a former sex crimes prosecutor. So great person to have perspective on what's a story getting a lot of attention, because the allegations, it makes you shake when you just think about how disturbing all of this is, Eric. But you have this bond hearing, and reportedly the defense attorney for Victoria Cranmer kind of trying to argue away the allegations, which seem very bad with how they're written in court documents, saying that, this was just, almost saying everything's been blown out of proportion. What do you make of that argument and the situation that you're in as a defense attorney in this type of hearing?
Sure, Chris. Well, in looking at the charges, a central element of all of them, I believe, is that there was something sexual in nature going on. And really, when we hear the defense attorney and how they're presenting their argument at the bail hearing, they're basically saying, hey, there may have been physical contact. There is a video. They're acknowledging all of that. But they're saying that this contact was not sexual in nature. In my reading of it, it appears they're kind of alleging that this 2-year-old was the one who was kind of initiating the contact, was curious, did not really understand boundaries at that point. And that element, whether they're
Which could be possibly true. That's what children do, but you still supposed to say, hey, no, you can't touch that. That might be all true. Everything that he just said, that could possibly be true. But it's on you as the adult to say, hey, you can't touch me there. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. That's called teaching. That's called teaching. Like, I have my son. I got a 3-year-old. It's certain things I let him touch. It's certain things I don't let him touch. He don't touch nothing on nobody's body but his own. But you got to teach kids what they can and cannot touch. And your private is an area that they shouldn't be touching. So I don't see why you flip the camera on, start laughing, and videotape it on Snapchat. I don't.
there was something sexual going on is really critical to this case.
And you have the judge who made the decision that Victoria Cranmer is going to continue to be held without bond. And he points out in court, from what he understands, that there really wasn't an effort to stop it. I just
exactly.
Think of,
that's what I just
we'll
said.
see how this case plays out going forward. But like when you have a judge kind of looking at it in that moment, and I don't know if he specifically saw it or if he's just reading off of the allegations. What do you make of the judge kind of looking at this and having that type of read, and then saying that publicly in court?
Yeah, the judge is in a bail hearing making a determination in part on whether the defendant is a danger to the community. So he's reviewing all the allegations. He may have reviewed this video itself, and his opinion on it probably matters because this is not just some guy off the street. This is a learned jurist who has presumably seen cases like this before, and so for him to be kind of taken aback to say, "Hey, it didn't appear as if the defendant was trying to discontinue any of this conduct," I think carries significant weight. And if that was the judge's reaction, how might a jury react?
Right. And you have to be wondering that if you're this public defender, and we'll see if she gets private counsel going forward. Because this isn't a trial, but you have a judge making a decision just based off of it straight up that he just doesn't feel like there was an effort in stopping it. And that certainly kind of reiterates the troubling concerns in the PC. As a defense attorney, are you kind of shoehorned into that defense now that, hey, all of this is being really blown out of proportion, where if she were to go to trial a year from now, is what is said in a bond hearing something that then has to continue on into the trial?
it is not something typically by which the defendant would be bound later on. If your attorney makes some argument early in the case at a different hearing, that doesn't necessarily mean you're sort of pigeonholed into that particular defense. For example, at the jury trial phase, if we get that far, the defense might argue that this wasn't her in that video, or they can't prove that it was her. And that is, a different argument than saying any contact was not sexual. I think that those potential arguments and defenses are still on the table, even though they chose to ride a particular horse during this bail hearing.
And going from here, if you're a prosecutor, so let's flip to the other side on this. You have this reportedly a 14-second video that it's just difficult to even describe, involving allegedly a 2-year-old and then Victoria Cranmer. And there is something that reaches the level of what they consider to be sexual assault, allegedly. What more evidence would you need other than just pressing play on this video if this were to go to trial?
The video is going to speak volumes. It's going to perhaps capture the defendant's reaction to what's going on. How might she be perceiving this? What is her interpretation of whatever interaction is depicted on that video? That's important. Also, conversations with the defendant that the mother of this child may have had. I understand the defendant was staying with a friend whose child she was also babysitting. It was a different child. But you would want to at least buttress your case from prosecutorial perspective. You have the video that might be super helpful, but some additional witness statements in terms of perhaps this defendant might not have been sort of blasé about sexual interactions or boundaries or things like that. If you had such evidence in witness testimony, that would only corroborate what you're saying this video depicts. So the video is critical, but certainly having more information could not hurt. And it's a high bar in a sex case, to get a jury to convict somebody and brand somebody with that scarlet letter for the rest of their life of a sex crimes conviction. Some folks think that that's in essence a higher burden than with other crimes, although under the law it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it seems like the woman who is identified as Miss P in the document, so that's the friend who she was allegedly living with. She says that she kind of recognizes the bathroom where this video took place, and then there's some unique tattoos that Cranmer apparently has that also tied her to that video. I think of the victim in this case, we're talking about someone who, according to these court documents, is believed to be just 2 years old. It is just
Now, so now you hear they talking about the distinctive tattoos, and this chick is in jail. So this is a telling sign. You know what I'm saying? Because you can get your tats removed in jail. You can. Well, I know in Illinois and in Minnesota you can. I don't know about the rest. I don't know about Jersey. But you can get your tats removed, and you can also get them covered up. So I would like to see what's going to happen in the future, the next time she's at court, or whenever down the line this go to trial. You know what I'm saying? I want to see if was there any attempt while being locked up to cover up those tats that are being discussed in this video.
it's tough. And I know you prosecuted, a lot of difficult cases with details, I'm sure, that are like this. But a 2-year-old can't go on the stand and accuse someone of something happening. In the court record or in the reports based off the records that we're reading, like the mom realized that the boy no longer wanted to use the bath, which is really sad. But how does that get entered in? And then how does that 2-year-old, as an alleged victim in this case, how do you build that credibility around someone who can't speak?
It is a significant impediment, I think, for the prosecution. And I think
That was
it
a good
opens
question.
up possible challenges on the defense side. Defense is going to say, hey, they can't call this 2-year-old as a witness. We don't know what was going on in the 2-year-old's head. We don't know what the 2-year-old, how he may have been perceiving this interaction, the actions that he may have chose to initiate, according to defense, of course. And I think that it opens up a lot of speculation about what more could have been going on cognitively and psychologically and emotionally during this interaction. I think it sort of invites the defense to ask the jury to speculate about those things, even though technically jury's not supposed to speculate in deliberations, but it can be sort of suggested in an artful way by defense at the trial phase.
Right, 100%. How often do these cases? I mean, she's facing CSAM charges. I feel like a lot of these end in plea deals. I mean, how likely is it, just based off what we know at this point, that this is something that you might actually have a strong argument? I know it's early, but that the defense would feel confident of, hey, you're looking at 30 potentially plus years in prison and a lifetime sex offender registry. How does that factor into kind of the strategy you have going forward?
Chris, it's no secret that if a person is convicted of SA on a child, a judge is liable to drop the hammer.
And you know what? And I was just wondering, like, why do they keep showing these pictures of her? You know what I'm saying? On the beach and in bikini and all of that and this and that. You know what I mean? That could be a possible defense thing. You know what I mean? For her defense, like, look how beautiful she is. She don't have to do that. And I'm pretty sure they probably gonna go down that road, or they probably gonna try to take the mental health route. You know what I mean? But it's crazy that they keep showing all these pictures of her as in her glamour. You know what I mean? Like how hot she is. Like I wonder what her beauty is going to play, what part her beauty is going to play in this case, because it's going to come up. I guarantee you.
On that individual and just sentence them to potentially years, if not decades, in prison. So the exposure is great, and the prosecutorial leverage is very significant too. So from the defense calculus, you kind of have to do these analyses where you're like, hey, what's the chance that we're going to win at trial, and what's our potential exposure if we lose? Compare that to what might be a sure thing in terms of a plea deal. There could be a plea deal for a person if this individual does not have significant criminal history, and if there isn't, some sort of pattern of similar conduct, it wouldn't be uncommon for the prosecutor to say,
well, that probably gonna be out of the question, because I heard when the police did a phone dump, they found more videos. So I don't know whether the stuff I was watching is before or after this, but it's on the same law and crime on the case. So I don't know. This might be before.
hey, this is your first time. It's extremely egregious, and we're going to do something firm and assertive, but not, really throw the book at you. And that might be an attractive option to defense when you have allegations that just by their very nature are so shocking and inflammatory.
And it seems like this 14-second video, I mean, you talk about a smoking gun in a case like this. I mean, for a judge to even look at it and call it, I think the word he used was bizarre, but then to say, like, clearly in his mind that there was really no effort in stopping the interaction of whatever it shows. I guess what would the chance?
Well, let me correct that. In their defense, it wasn't on Law and Crime on the case. Once I saw this video, I went to AI, Gemini, and had Gemini pull up the case and what she was charged with and a bunch of the stuff. So that's probably how I know about the phone dump, and they haven't said nothing about that.
Chances be for the defense to get that thrown out? I mean, what goes into that? Because we do see in some of these cases where from the public, we look at a piece of evidence and we're like, how do you go ahead to trial without having this? It changes the way you look at something. But there are good defense attorneys out there that can get evidence taken out of what could be shown at trial. Like, what are you looking at if you're a defense attorney and you have this video and you say, hey, with this video, we may be in trouble, but without it, I have a chance to get my client off?
Oh, right. I think from the defense perspective, you want to explore how the government came into possession of this video, and did they do so constitutionally? Because, Chris, as you know, if there is a constitutional violation in procuring evidence, even if it's really important evidence, sometimes that can lead to suppression of that evidence at trial. The jury never sees it. My understanding in this case, however, is that the defendant had the phone. It was hers. But when she parted ways with her roommate who bought her the phone, she left the phone with the roommate. So when you abandon property, you really don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in that property. And my understanding is the roommate then went to police after seeing the video and gave police the phone, consented to them searching it. So under those circumstances, I don't think there's a Fourth Amendment violation.
Good.
I don't think there's another constitutional violation that's going to preclude admission of this, what appears to be a very damning video.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
does that count too for the apps on the phone? So apparently it was in like the Snapchat memories. She gives, I guess the phone was bought for her as a gift. Phone is given back after she moves out of the house, and then Miss P in court records goes into the phone, finds this video in the Snapchat memories, and then alerts the authorities. Does that also include, like, you get someone's phone? It's
Yeah, I think they need to go to AI because she didn't leave the phone. That phone was gifted to her, and when she was told to leave, she was told to leave that phone. Like, I paid for that. That stays here. So I think that's why I got a little bit more facts than they do, because I went straight to Gemini. Once I saw this video, I'm like, this is crazy. Let me go pull up these facts on here. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. I went straight to Gemini. I had them pull up all the facts and what she was charged with and all that. That's how I knew at the beginning of the video everything she was charged with. This is my first time watching this all the way through.
their username.
So we doing this together.
There's no protection that says that it's a violation of privacy to actually go into that person's, the apps on the phone, something like Snapchat.
Sure. So, for example, if the defendant had retained this phone and the cops came by and they were like, give me that, and they just started looking through it, that might be a Fourth Amendment violation resulting in suppression. But here, my understanding is what police did is they learned of this potentially contraband video on the phone, and then from there devised a search warrant for these apps. Police can send search warrants and what are called production of records requests to apps like Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. And the police
Didn't know
did
that.
because they said, hey, we know there's some criminal stuff going on here. We need to see if there's more criminal stuff going on. Judge, give us a warrant to look at the entirety of the app. And that's what the police did. That's how they came into possession of this allegedly criminal material. And so I think that's pretty by the book.
Yeah, and it seems like for her history as well. I'm just thinking of, because in all of these, I'm not trying to give the audience like sympathy to this defendant, but just more like, we've obviously seen this story over the past couple of days. Like, how do you even defend a case like this? It's alleged that she has some sort of mental health history, potentially a traumatic childhood, just based off of what I've seen on social media. For a defense attorney, like, how does that factor into what you could put together in hopes of a positive outcome when it does seem the evidence is so strong on the prosecution side at this point?
Totally. This case is ripe for what's called a mitigation packet. So that's when defense really compiles a bunch of information that's favorable to the client. So what they'll talk about in part is that, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Prosecutor, it's going to be pretty difficult to prove that this was for sure sexual contact. How can you rule out the fact that this kid was just being curious and exploring whatever? And then, but even though there is some risk there, this is all the background of my client. These are the things she has been through. She's had to contend with things that other folks have not had to contend with. That has made things more difficult for her. If there is any prior abuse, and I have no idea if there is, but if there were, a defense attorney would cite to that, would say, hey, look, in fact, my client has been a previous victim of this. And we look at studies that show previous victims of that kind of thing are more likely to engage in it, unfortunately, than folks who have.
So just because they more likely to engage, what we supposed to have leniency on them? We supposed to forget? Oh, okay. We supposed to go harder on their ass because you was a victim of that. You didn't like it, so you're gonna take it and do it to somebody else. Hell no. She don't get no leniency because if she was a victim of that. No. You should have known better. That's why you should get the book thrown at your ass. Oh, chief.
Who have not been previously victimized in that way. So you compile that background information, that historical record of your client and what they have been through to try to garner sympathy to try to convince the prosecutor this case is mitigated and you should take a more lenient approach. That would be a common tactic for defense in terms of mitigation package.
Apparently, they found some other videos on this phone. It's unclear what those show. She's babysat, for Miss P's child, Miss H, just the names that are in the court records. That's the alleged victim, the 2-year-old boy. How do you, as a prosecutor, kind of factor in a timeline of this case going forward where there is the possibility that potentially there are more victims and law enforcement has to continue to investigate? I mean, you never know. But at the same time, you certainly have a lot of strong evidence, it seems, at this point. And I know it's in the early stages. We're talking months, maybe a year down the line until you see some sort of conviction or verdict. But how do you factor in ongoing investigations as you're trying to put together a case?
That is so front of mind, Chris, for a special victims unit prosecutor. Is this an isolated event, or could this be a pattern? You look into the digital footprint, you interview everybody under the sun that was around this person, everybody for whom she babysat. I mean, that's step one. My understanding in reading some of the reports is there might be an allegation that she also had a bath with this kid or with a different kid. It's a bit unclear. That tells me that this may not be just a one-time, oops, I didn't know what was going on, it wasn't sexual, whatever. That tells me that there is a pattern, at least, of improper boundaries. And when that comes to children, gosh, the alarm bells signal. And you've got to really scour the earth to determine, hey, has this happened to somebody else? And if so, do we need to add charges?
Yeah, it's just such an awful story. And we're seeing kind of her side of the story, presenting that to the audience. People can make what they want. I mean, clearly this video, and I don't think it's something that anybody wants to look at, but clearly this video is at the center of this case. We'll see what happens next. Eric Faddis, Mile High Lion, criminal defense attorney from Denver, Colorado. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to be with us on Law and Crime. We appreciate it.
Yo, that is crazy, man. This is crazy what's going on out here, man. You gotta watch we gotta watch our people, yo. We have to, yo. We have to. We can't keep just delivering our people to the hands of predators, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm so skeptical about the community. Because I don't understand why you want to be over-sexualized and be in the midst of children. You see what I'm saying? But, yo, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, man. Follow me on TikTok, Hood Politics 5.1. All my TikTokers over there. It's time to invade YouTube, man. I need y'all over here at Hood Politics. A with that little circle around it. You see that? That's the at. So when y'all hear me say at, don't put AT. That's what I'm talking about. At Hood Politics 90. Like and subscribe to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, hit that notification bell so y'all know when I drop a new video. This is your boy Jay from Hood Politics bringing you bad babysitter. Bad babysitter. How the little fruity leftists go, shame, shame, shame. Yeah, that's what they should be doing to her ass. They should be outside the New Jersey jail right now yelling shame. But unfortunately, they're yelling shame at the ICE officers in New Jersey. Just carry your ass to the other facility. You know what I'm saying? But this your boy Jay from Hood Politics checking in. And now I'm checking out, y'all. Y'all know how we do it, baby.
I denounce you in the name of Jesus. Every devil gotta flee. You don't have no reason. I'm bold as a lion. I don't fear no evil. Blood of Jesus on me. I'm covered. I'm